Sophia, you can't leave me. You promised to protect me for a lifetime. You can't. In the torrential rain, I chased after the Rolls-Royce ahead as if mad. In a careless moment, I stepped into a puddle and fell hard to the ground. I watched the car drive away helplessly, and the two people inside didn't even glance back at me. I couldn't bear to just watch Sophia leave like that. The pain in my body made me get up several times only to fall down again. I could only drag my legs and crawl forward, chasing until everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was already lying in a hospital bed with only the pain from scraped legs reminding me I was still alive. I listened blankly as the doctor said my injuries this time weren't serious and that a few days' rest would be fine. But the hospital ran a full body check, and the results wouldn't be ready for 5 days, which meant I would just stay in the hospital for 5 days waiting for them. The doctor saw that I remained silent and said nothing. After giving some precautions, he left. I knew very well that just over 10 days ago, I had accompanied Sophia to her prenatal checkup, and at her request, I had also had a full body examination. A few days ago, while I was at work, Sophia picked up the results for me. She clearly said there was nothing wrong. Now, she took advantage of my being unconscious to do it again. Obviously, she just wanted to swindle my money. Forget it. My heart is already dead anyway. What use is money now? Actually, I'm not the kind of wimp who sticks around when his wife has an affair. It's just that Sophia and I were childhood sweethearts, and our bond is too deep. Sophia and I were both abandoned orphans who grew up in an orphanage. She is 3 years older than me. When I was young, I was frail and sickly, thin and tall, and walking outside felt like a gust of wind could blow me away. Sophia, on the other hand, was beautiful from a young age, dependable in everything she did, and especially took care of me. Whatever portions we were given, if I finished mine, she would always give me half of hers. When others bullied me, she would chase them off, then dress my wounds and comfort me. When we were in school, she tutored me and took care of my meals and daily needs. She was literally the light of my life. Without her, I couldn't have survived. Sometimes I even think being abandoned by my family was a good thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met Sophia. With her by my side, I'm not at all envious of those classmates who are parents. Only Sophia Taylor is the most important person to me, my only family in this world. Under her careful care, I, who was originally weak and often sick, gradually grew strong. By the time I graduated from university, I had become a tall, handsome young man. Many girls confessed to me, but I politely turned them all down. While I received my first month's salary, the first thing I did was gather a few friends and meticulously plan a confession ceremony. I still remember clearly. Sophia looked at me holding the bouquet, took the flowers, her eyes gleamed, and she hugged me. My Ethan has grown up. Now it's your turn to take care of me. I excitedly lifted her up and kissed her. In that moment, I felt like the happiest person in the world. After that, our engagement and wedding went smoothly. After I was promoted to manager, I had Sophia quit her job and stay home to prepare for pregnancy. I could now provide a good life for her and the child. I didn't want her to expose herself to the world and toil away like I did. That year, Sophia became pregnant. I bought a house for us, then a car for her. Whenever I had free time, I traveled with her. When work was busy, I would ask her close friends to keep her company. I covered all the expenses. Although my salary was high, I spent a lot on Sophia, leaving almost nothing. Sophia always told me not to be so extravagant, saying we'd have plenty of expenses once we had children. But I always acted first and told her later. I just wanted to be a little better to her, even better. Money was nothing. I could always work harder outside and earn more. But how do we end up like this? It started with an appointment accompanying Sophia to a prenatal checkup. While she was inside being examined, I went out to buy her favorite snack. When I came back, Sophia was already out talking to a gaunt, stooped, bloodless-looking young man. The young man handed a business card to Sophia, who casually tossed it aside, her face full of impatience. I hurried over and put my arms around Sophia's waist. "Sophia, what's going on?" I glared at the person in front of us who looked like a skeleton as I spoke. He didn't care. He sneered at me once and walked away. I was about to go after him to argue when Sophia grabbed me. "Ethan, don't bother with strangers. Since there's still time, let's get you a full checkup. Didn't you say your stomach's been upset from drinking the last couple of days? I shot an angry glance in the young man's departing direction. Then Sophia pulled me off to get examined. Sophia's fetus was completely normal. A few days later, she went to get my test results and said there was nothing wrong with me either. I still touched her hair jokingly. Your husband Ethan is very healthy. If you weren't pregnant tonight, he'd definitely keep you awake all night. It was also from that day on that the man named Marcus Miller began pestering Sophia every day. Sophia always seemed to have something on her mind, although she still chatted and laughed in front of me. How could she hide it from me, the pillow companion who'd grown up with her? Every night when I woke up, I could feel that she wasn't asleep yet. At first, I didn't take Marcus seriously. With that look of his, not only was he ugly, he didn't look like he'd live long. Sophia couldn't possibly leave a handsome husband like me, who loved her with all his heart, to choose someone like that. But I still overlooked one thing. The Marcus family was extremely rich. This man, who looked like a skeleton, was the only son of California's wealthiest tech mogul. Because of bad habits, overindulgence, and a drug addiction, he was already as thin as a skeleton before 30, coughing constantly, unable to straighten his back, giving the impression he could drop dead at any moment. On the third day after getting the test results, I came home from work and smelled something delicious wafting from the kitchen. While changing my shoes, a happy smile appeared on my face. Smells so good. If I'm not mistaken, today's stew must be pork ribs. No sooner had I finished speaking than I walked into the living room and my smile froze. Marcus was sitting in the living room, legs casually crossed, looking at me with his signature disdainful gaze. Before I could react, Sophia had already brought all the dishes out and set them on the table. Home from work. Wash your hands and eat. Her voice was very calm. She kept her head down and I couldn't see her expression. I pointed at Marcus and asked, "No explanation? What's going on here?" Today I happened to run into him on the street, so I invited him over for a while. Marcus still looked as carefree as ever. "You guys eat, I'll head out. Think over what I said today." After saying that, Marcus patted my shoulder as he passed me. "Your wife is good-looking and a good cook. You're one lucky guy. Haha." Before he finished, he laughed loudly and left. In the end, I didn't throw the punch. I had clinched for fear of killing him with a single blow. That night, Sophia and I had our first intense argument. Though it wasn't really an argument, I was the only one airing grievances while Sophia comforted me and urged me not to be angry, but she still couldn't give the explanation I wanted. After that, I ignored Sophia for several days. She still treated me the same as before, but looked haggard, her eyes red and swollen every day. But later, Marcus began appearing in our lives more often, and Sophia was no longer cold toward him. What bothered me most was that when Marcus and I argued, Sophia would sometimes consider Marcus's feelings and tell me to hold back, even saying, "Don't get yourself sick." In the end, she was still worried about that living corpse, Marcus. Until today, Sophia suddenly confronted me. She and Marcus sat on one side of the table. I sat alone on the other. Sophia and I both wore serious expressions like we were negotiating. Marcus remained his same annoying, indifferent self. "Why? Can you tell me why? Is it just because he has money? Just because he's the son of the richest man in California?" I couldn't help but break the silence first. Sophia kept her head down, not daring to look at me. "Ethan, we both came from the orphanage and have been looked down on since childhood. Back then, I vowed that someday I would make everyone regard me highly. I won't let anyone look down on me anymore." Her voice was very low and sounded unsteady. "Aren't our lives fine now? I work so hard outside just to give you the best. I'm doing everything I can to fulfill the promise I made when I confessed to you. If you lack something, I buy it for you without you asking. Even if you don't need it, I'll give you what others have. What more do you want from me?" I said, my voice choked, clenching my teeth to keep from crying. Sophia didn't reply, but I could feel her softly sobbing. Marcus suddenly snorted coldly. "You give it your all, and this is all you amount to now. Tell me, how much savings do you have? Cough, cough. After the child is born, what kind of life and education can you provide for the child? Cough, cough. The good life you talk about, to me, it's just having enough to eat and clothes to wear. Cough, cough. If you really love Sophia, you should let her go and let her live a happier life. Cough, cough. Not drag her to live the same life as you just for your own happiness. Watch your mouth. Don't talk so much you choke yourself to death. He coughed several times after speaking. I rudely cut him off. Ethan, don't talk like that. Marcus is just in poor health. With today's advanced medical care, that's not a big deal. Sophia looked up, frowning as she defended Marcus. Sophia, I admit Marcus is well off, but you don't have to delude yourself. If you were truly a good match, I wouldn't stand in the way of your happiness. If his health could be saved given his status, why would he drag his sick body around every day without treatment? If you marry him, you might end up a widow someday. And you, Marcus, you're the son of California's richest man. Do you really have to marry a twice-married woman who's pregnant? Someone who's been used? Is that good? Slap. A loud smack landed across my face. I covered my cheek. Sophia looked at her hand, her eyes complicated. You actually hit me for him? I looked at Sophia in disbelief. Ethan, what you said was too much. If you won't agree to the divorce, we'll see each other in court. Let's go, Sophia said, then left with Marcus. I froze for a moment, then immediately chased after them. And so the scene at the beginning unfolded. I stayed in the hospital for 5 days. The test results came back, stomach cancer. Fortunately, it wasn't discovered too late. That day, the director personally came to explain the situation to me. Your condition is very unusual, extremely rare. So, our hospital has decided to perform the surgery for free to accumulate some clinical experience. To be honest, when I heard the 2 words, stomach cancer, I felt very calm. I didn't even lift an eyelid. My heart was already dead. Nothing else mattered. I signed the papers, and the surgery went very smoothly. Afterward, I recuperated in the hospital for 3 months, and only after my body had fully recovered did the hospital agree to discharge me. They said I had made an outstanding contribution to the hospital, not only waiving all my treatment fees but also rewarding me $1 million. But now, nothing interests me anymore. When I learned I had cancer, I didn't feel pain. And now that I've received a large sum of money, I don't feel happy either. After being discharged, I quit my job. Even when my boss came to the house and repeatedly invited me back, offering raises, I couldn't bring myself to care. Sophia and I divorced through the court. In the days that followed, I wandered around in a daze every day. The house was a mess, and I didn't tidy it up. I drank alone until late at night and completely ignored the doctor's repeated warnings to drink less. One day, I ran out of alcohol, wearing the same clothes I hadn't changed for several days, hair uncombed and face unwashed. I went out onto the street to buy liquor. I was looking down as I walked when suddenly a hand reached out in front of me, the index and middle fingers pinching a 100 yuan banknote. Then Sophia's voice came next, spoken to Marcus beside her. Marcus, this vagrant looks so pitiful. I'm about to give birth anyway. Give him some money. I considered doing a good deed and accumulating virtue. I knew that voice all too well. I abruptly looked up and happened to make eye contact with the person handing out the money. That is Sophia. How could it be you? What happened to you? How did you end up like this? I blurted out at the same time. The 2 people before me were Sophia and Marcus. Sophia looked at me in surprise while Marcus still wore that same cold expression. I didn't expect that in just a few months you'd fall into such a state. Luckily, I didn't choose to be with you back then. Otherwise, I'd probably be begging on another street now, I said. Huh. Sophia laughed, her tone full of mockery. It's only been a few months. How did you become so mean? I glared at her, my eyes burning red. Mean? Aren't I stating the facts? I really must have been blind to have liked you back then, but luckily I didn't stay blind, Sophia said mercilessly. You. I pointed at her, trembling with anger, unable to get the words out. Oh, what's the matter? Want to sing some Peking opera? Sophia mocked. Being angry won't get you anywhere. I know you hate me, but the best way to get back at someone is to live better than them. Sigh. It's not that I look down on you. This is as good as your life will ever get." With that, she looped her arm through Marcus. "Marcus, I think we should wait until after the baby is born to have the wedding dress made. I don't want to get married with a big belly." All right. Whatever you say." Marcus looked at Sophia adoringly. Then the two of them climbed into the luxury car beside them, all lovey-dovey, without giving me another glance. I didn't feel like buying alcohol anymore. I don't even know how I got home. When I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror, neither fully human nor ghost, I lost it. I tore at my unkempt hair and cried my heart out. After that, I took a shower, put on a new outfit, and went out to get a buzz cut. When I left the barber shop, I felt several pounds lighter. Thankfully, of the $1 million the hospital gave me, over $900,000 remained. Besides buying alcohol during that period, I had little other expenditure. So, I registered a small company. Lacking the means to open a factory, I started by doing the business myself and outsourcing the manufacturing. I was always someone who was willing to fight hard. So, I quickly achieved results, actually doing even better than when I worked my previous job. Orders that used to require drinking until I passed out to close can now be secured with ease. A few months later, I had my own factory and began recruiting staff. Because I was well-liked, my former co-workers from the old boss's place came to my company to join me. As orders kept increasing, the factory kept expanding. With capital in hand, I began moving into other profitable industries. When someone is on a streak of good luck, everything goes smoothly. Before long, I became a rising star in business with assets reaching tens of billions of dollars. But compared to the Miller family, it was still far from enough. Over that year and more, I was so busy with the group's affairs that gradually I thought of Sophia less and less until one day I scrolled past news that Sophia and Marcus were getting married and realized that this long-dormant heart still ached faintly. In the video, after giving birth, Sophia looked even better and more confident, gracefully toasting and making polite small talk with the guests. But there were few shots of the groom, Marcus. Every time he appeared, he was coughing uncontrollably. Still damn resilient, I swore. Then I changed into a pair of shorts and a tank top, went to the mansion's gym, and vented like crazy on a punching bag custom-made to Marcus' likeness. Because my business kept growing, it became inevitable to deal with the Miller family. We were all adults. I couldn't let spite affect the company's future. Actually, the bigger the company, the easier it is to deal with. Every time I did business with them, it went smoothly and the profits were considerable. I met Sophia again at their company's new product launch. By then, Sophia had already begun taking over part of the Miller family's enterprises. That day, she wore a professional outfit, efficient and commanding, skillfully and gracefully introducing the products to the guests. She was still so confident, so captivating. I had to keep recalling the harsh things she once said to me just to avoid being distracted by her. The launch was very successful. Many customers placed orders on the spot. At the evening banquet, Sophia went around toasting with a glass in hand, laughing happily from time to time. I felt a little unwell, so I went out into the courtyard to find some quiet and downed the wine in my glass in one gulp. "Your stomach isn't good, and you still drink so much. Cough, cough. I think you don't want to live. Cough, cough." I knew that voice all too well. It was the person I'd wanted to strangle on countless nights when I woke from a dream. "Marcus." I turned my head and saw Marcus approaching me in an electric wheelchair. "Long time no see," he said, extending his hand. "It's been a while, huh? You're not dead yet." I ignored the hand he offered. His expression froze for a moment, then he looked down, smiled, and withdrew his hand. Compared to the last time we met, Marcus has changed a lot. Just 2 years apart, he went from a homeless man to a new business tycoon. What a miraculous transformation. The current Marcus no longer wore his old rakishness, nor did he look at people with contempt. His expression was much more composed. "To be honest, you've changed a lot. The rich playboy used to act like a thug. Now you've turned into a proper gentleman. Could it really be, as the old saying goes, that a man at death becomes kind?" I said, without mercy. He wasn't angered by my words. Instead, shame showed in his eyes. Marcus said 2 sentences to me, and each had the word "die" in it. Does he really want me dead? Dream on, I said, then turned away, not wanting to see him any more. Huh. Maybe your wish will come true soon, Marcus said with a laugh. I ignored him and was about to turn and leave when a gentle voice interrupted me. You were having such a nice conversation. Why are you leaving? It was Sophia. She walked over from a distance, holding a small thin blanket, which she draped over Marcus and carefully tucked the edges in for him. The butler just said he couldn't find you. So you were here after all, Sophia said to Marcus, her tone still gentle. She was still so gentle, so considerate. Why are you leaving just because I came? Do you really not want to see me? Sophia smiled at me. Not really. It's just that after hearing what Mr. Marcus said a moment ago, I suddenly felt great and wanted to go out for another drink to celebrate. I smiled and nodded to her. We're all adults after all. We should keep a little dignity. Oh, what happy thing did he say? Tell me so I can be happy too. Sophia leaned forward, one hand on the back of the wheelchair, the other on the handle, and asked Marcus. Marcus looked awkward. Nothing, just chatting. It's a bit chilly. You should keep warm. Why don't you go rest first? Besides, our parents are keeping an eye on the banquet. Seeing you work so hard really pains me. I couldn't listen any longer and lifted my foot to leave. Ethan, Mr. Ethan, why are you in such a hurry to leave? I have something to tell you. Sophia Hurley called out to me. Sorry, Miss Sophia. I ate a lot of good food in there just now. I really can't stomach any more of this dog food, I said half-jokingly. She straightened up, gave me an apologetic smile, and then walked up to me. Marcus sensibly sat in his electric wheelchair and left. Sophia took out a VIP card. This is a VIP card for our company's investment promotion meeting the day after tomorrow. We have a major project to cooperate on with another company, so you must do us the honor of attending. I know this is a great opportunity for my company. I'm well past the age of acting on impulse. I took the VIP card with both hands. Thank you, Miss Sophia. Oh, I'll definitely come. My polite attitude made her pause. After all this time, haven't you thought about finding someone else? Sophia asked. No, I was too foolish before. Only now have I come to understand life. You can't give up a whole forest for the sake of one tree. She heard that and smiled awkwardly. We exchanged a few more inconsequential words and then I left. 3 days later, I attended the investment promotion meeting as promised. I invested a significant amount in that major project and became the second largest shareholder after the Miller family. Later, I made a large profit from that project. After that, contact between their company and ours began to increase. But Sophia and I never met again. Whenever dealings with their company arose, I had the vice president handle the negotiations. Although I knew I shouldn't act on impulse, I could never forget how she abandoned me in the pouring rain and walked away so decisively, nor her taunts that cut deeper than knives when I was down and out. My one firm boundary was to avoid a public falling out. If we could avoid meeting, then we would. During all that time, I tried to find another girlfriend. Many exceptional women showed interest in me and confessed their feelings. I tried to get to know some of them. But whenever things started to move forward, the face of the woman before me would always turn into Sophia's. After a few lapses, I never dated again. Another month passed and Marcus died. As the Miller family's current largest business partner, I of course had to attend the funeral. Before going, I tried many ways to remind myself not to burst out laughing. But at the scene, seeing Sophia kneeling at the memorial altar, her pretty eyes swollen from crying like bells, and beside her, the tall, thin little boy, Owen Miller, who looked exactly like I did as a child, I couldn't help but let my own tears fall. Seeing the wife and child who should have been by my side, now crying their hearts out at someone else's memorial, felt like someone had stabbed me and then twisted the knife hard. After the rites, I stepped aside. I could tell Sophia's sorrow wasn't an act. Having grown up with her, I know her too well. I used to think she was only after the Miller family's money and wouldn't have real feelings for Marcus. Removing the money factor, she still loved me. But now, I completely shattered that illusion. Sophia had truly fallen out of love. Back home, I was so upset that I couldn't sleep all night. This time it wasn't for Sophia, but for my son Owen, who couldn't recognize me and was still kneeling at someone else's wake. After Marcus died, his parents were hit hard, and Sophia took over the company. She had always been efficient, and with the nurturing of the Miller family over the years, she had become a full-fledged businesswoman. People said that after her husband's death, she was cold to everyone. The only ones who could make her smile were her son Owen and her parents-in-law. 5 years later, I was in the office handling documents when the secretary gently knocked on the door. "Please come in," I said. "Mr. Ethan, someone wants to see you." "They said they have something important to tell you," the junior secretary reported. "What kind of person?" "I get most annoyed when I'm interrupted while working. Unless it's an important guest, I usually make them wait until I'm finished." He's a boy of about 10, but his manner of speaking and clothes show he's not from an ordinary family. "I've already had him brought into the reception room to wait," the junior secretary said. "He's just a kid. Let him wait until I'm done," I said. The secretary agreed and left. Once I got busy, I forgot all about it. Not until my stomach started growling did I check the time. It was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I took off my glasses and rubbed my brow. 4 years, I've been working so hard. At first, it was to forget Sophia and Owen. And though I don't think about them as often now, working hard has become a habit. I left the office, and as I headed for the reception room, I glanced in. A neatly dressed young man was sitting upright on the sofa. Only then did I remember someone was waiting to see me. I walked in, and the instant our eyes met, we both froze. This child looks exactly like me. No introduction needed. I already know who he is. Owen. He stood up and greeted me politely. "Sorry, I lost track of time when I got busy. You haven't eaten yet, have you?" "Let's go get something to eat," I said. He smiled and nodded. I led him to a private room in the cafeteria, and the chef quickly prepared several small dishes that were delightful in appearance, aroma, and taste. "What brings you to see me this time?" I didn't move my chopsticks and looked at Owen as I asked. The first time we met, he wasn't at all awkward. "Hear my question," he put down his chopsticks. "Uncle, I came because there's something I want to ask of you." Hearing my own son call me uncle to my face felt like I'd swallowed a mouthful of old vinegar. A sour, unpleasant feeling churned in my chest. "Go on. What is it?" I forced out my emotions. "Uncle, could you go and see my mother?" "She's in very poor health right now," Owen said. "Did she send you?" "If I go see her, will that make her better?" "Child, if she's unwell, she should see a doctor." I didn't mean to say such heartless things in front of Owen. Only I know how I've lived all these years. If I pitted them, I'd be betraying myself. "Uncle, please listen. My mother was just diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer. She doesn't have much time left. It wasn't her who sent me. Once she fainted from the pain and was rushed in for treatment. I saw the diary she never let go of and learned about you. She never forgot you. Her illness came from years of depression and drinking. I'm begging you." Owen's voice was choked with tears. I raised my hand to cut him off. "Sorry, I'm not interested in your family's affairs. If you've eaten your fill, leave." With that, I stood up to go. Suddenly, I felt my pant leg grabbed. Looking down, Owen was kneeling on the ground, clinging to my leg. "Dad, this is the first time in my life. I'm begging you. Mom doesn't have much time left." In the end, I still agreed with Owen and got in his car to go to his villa. When I opened the door to Sophia's room, a strong smell of disinfectant hit me, and the various medical devices in the room were even more complete than in a hospital. Sophia, supported by medical staff, was sitting propped up at the head of the bed. "Owen, where did you go? Why are you only back now?" Sophia said to Owen, and after speaking, she saw me following behind. Sophia was now so thin, she was almost unrecognizable. Her hair had all fallen out, and her face was pale without a trace of color. Her already large eyes looked even bigger because of the weight loss. When she saw me, her expression froze for a moment, then clearly brightened as she hurriedly grabbed the wig beside her and put it on, then straightened her rumpled clothes. She had her private doctor and Owen leave first. When Owen left, his look at me was full of pleading. I knew he wanted me to say something to comfort Sophia. After everyone left, Sophia looked at me with eyes full of love. The feeling was both familiar and strange. "I'm glad you came to see me." Her voice had a sickly hoarseness, yet remained gentle. But my heart didn't stir at all. "I think you're happy too soon. I didn't plan to come. It was Owen begging me on his knees that made me come see you." When she heard that, the light in Sophia's eyes quickly dimmed. She lowered her head, tears brimming in her green eyes, and her hands twisted each other's fingernails, looking both flustered and helpless. After a long moment, she finally asked, "Long time no see. How have you been?" "Never better. Strong as ever, eating well. I can climb 6 flights without my back or legs aching. The company is growing better and better." I listed every good thing I could think of, even mentioning that our dog had had a litter of adorable puppies a few days ago. But I didn't see disappointment in Sophia's eyes. Instead, her smile deepened, her face filled with relief, and she laughed happily several times while I was talking, saying that my health, career, and life are all going so well. "I'm relieved," Sophia said. "Ethan, hurry and start a family. Let her give you a few children." At this, she darkened. "Owen, I promised Marcus that he'd take the Miller surname in this life. I can't go back on that. This is what I feel most guilty about toward you. But I really... It's okay. I understand. After all, you and your husband are deeply in love. I'm not short of women around me now, and I can have as many children as I want in the future." Although I had long accepted the fact that Owen would not come back to me, hearing Sophia say this still hurt. She sniffled. 2 tears fell, but a smile remained on her face. "I know I hurt you so deeply. I didn't expect you to forgive me." Her emotions grew more agitated, and her coughing kept getting worse until a mouthful of blood spurted from her. Already weak, she became even more listless. Seeing her like that, I finally panicked and was about to call the doctor, but she stopped me. "Ethan, for my final moments, I want you to stay with me. Come here. Hold me, will you?" she said weakly. I walked over in a daze, held her in my arms, wiped the tears and blood from the corners of her mouth, and straightened her messy wig. "Ahem. Ethan, do you know? The happiest time for me was when we were at the orphanage. I still often dream about it. You always followed behind me like my little tail. When someone bullied you, you'd cry and come to me to complain, pulling me to help you get revenge." "Ahem." Sophia's voice was very soft, her speech broken, and she kept coughing. "When I won, you'd use clean water to wash a handkerchief and wipe my wounds, then unwrap one of your treasured white rabbit candies and feed it to me, asking if it was sweet." Saying this, a plaintive smile appeared on her face. "You became naughtier after starting school, always driving away my suitors. Actually, I knew your little thoughts back then. Long ago, I decided I would protect you for life. So, I waited and finally waited until you grew up into the tall, handsome prince I had in my heart. Do you know how thrilled I was the day you confessed to me? It felt like I owned the whole world. After we married, you worked so hard for our family. I saw how much effort you put in. I thought we could be happy for our whole lives, but oh heaven. Cough, cough." I frantically patted her back. All right. Stop. Let's rest for now. There's plenty of time to talk later." She shook her head. "There won't be a later. Ethan, if there's a next life, let's be husband and wife again, and neither of us will ever abandon the other, okay?" I looked at her eager eyes, all past grievances long cast aside, and nodded heavily. She smiled so brightly, reaching out to touch my face. "I'll go on ahead. I'll wait for you." She didn't finish her words before her hand suddenly dropped. "Sophia," a heart-wrenching scream tore from me in the room. Owen and the medical staff outside the door rushed in at the sound. Sophia was gone. After her funeral, Owen handed me her diary. Only after reading it did I understand the whole truth. It turned out that the day Sophia and I went for the prenatal checkup, Marcus had been pestering her because he had been living in excess, drinking, gambling, visiting brothels, and using drugs, and his body was in terrible shape. His parents gave him an ultimatum: not a day with a child, not a day inside the house. So he was prowling the hospital for a target. When he saw the beautiful and gracious Sophia, he set his sights on her. Marcus offered Sophia an astronomical price, $1 billion US. Sophia was furious and threw his business card into the trash on the spot. But a few days later, when she went to the hospital to pick up my test results, she found out I already had late-stage stomach cancer, and the case was unusual. The doctor said they needed to invite the country's top specialists for treatment, costing around more than $5 million. Although our family was relatively well off at the time, the expenses were huge, and we had essentially no money left until Marcus approached her again. Those days, Sophia was so anxious she couldn't eat or sleep, and she couldn't tell me. She knew the sooner my illness was treated, the greater the chance of survival. So she steeled herself and agreed to Marcus's terms but refused to take his money. She only demanded that he first find doctors to save me, and then she would be with him. The nation's top experts personally operated. My surgery was a great success. Afterwards, Sophia kept sending people to inquire about me. When they reported that I drank all day and lived in decay, she and Marcus performed a sharp-tongued act to provoke me. When I was starting my business and running sales, she secretly subsidized me so clients would buy my goods. When I lacked staff, she paid dearly to poach people from my old employer to help me. In the end, she even collaborated with me personally, breaking resources down and feeding them to me. Her feelings toward Marcus were only gratitude. Marcus also respected her greatly and treated her like family. Their outward displays of affection were all to maintain appearances. Even at Marcus's funeral, she could not show the slightest difference. But Sophia herself developed stomach cancer amid constant gloom and heavy drinking. Until her death, she never told me the truth, fearing I would feel guilty for the rest of my life if I knew. She thought that rather than have me feel guilty, it was better to make me hate her. At Sophia's grave, I flipped through the diary from beginning to end, then took out a lighter and set it alight. Watching the last spark fade, something seemed to block my chest, and a mouthful of fresh blood sprayed onto her tombstone. I collapsed. The world in front of me gradually dimmed until there was no light left. I don't know how long passed before the darkness slowly lightened. Sophia's voice from the orphanage came from beside me. She pushed me and said, "How did you sleep until now?" The director called us to gather and hand out candy. I looked around and pinched myself before realizing I'd been reborn. I happily jumped onto Sophia, planting a big fierce kiss on her. "Sophia, I'll take care of you for the rest of my life. This time, none of us will ever abandon the other."